Is virtual training for logistics leaders the answer? I'm Greg Schenkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems, and today we got to look at whether virtual training will really work for people who work in logistics as supervisors and team leaders. Now, the myth is that virtual training just doesn't engage people like in-person classroom training. And the fact is that 58% of people say that they would prefer to learn at their own pace instead of having to follow the pace of the class that they're in. Now, at Frontline Leadership and Unique Training and Development, we recognize that there's actually two types of virtual training that people could take part in. And I remember that we had, typically when we meet with a prospective client, they automatically gravitate towards in-person classroom training. And I think there's two reasons for that. One is that's what they're used to, and many of the people who are making decisions about training are in that age cohort where that's the only way that they've attended training is through either half-day or full-day classes. And we still deliver a big chunk of our training in person on site. Ideally, it's broken into half-day pieces so that people can apply the training in between. On the virtual level, and what I typically will share with clients, is that they really have two things that they could do virtually. They could have virtual sessions almost mimic the same experience that you have in the classroom. We've invested in our multi-camera virtual training studio to make that a reality, and we work with a production team so that there's a high amount of interaction. But for those clients who think that now some of their people would benefit from on-demand training, we've launched the Frontline Leadership On-Demand program. That allows people to learn in smaller pieces and put those ideas into action over a multi-month period. But really, learning is all about discovery. And if I have challenges and situations, I'm interested in finding out how to solve them. So I've got a few tips for making virtual training as good or sometimes even better than in-person training. Number one is select engaging virtual training. Like any other training course, you can't just say they're all the same. So really look at the delivery method that people are going to be using in delivering the training. Are they just sitting in front of their laptop, sharing screen and fumbling with the technology? Or are they creating an experience for the audience that is almost the same as if they were in a classroom? Tip number two is to apply the learning between sessions. Really, no one learns well in a multi-day intensive training because your brain starts to get tired, as does your butt, from sitting in your chair for 2 days or 3 days of learning. We still deliver in that format for clients that are determined to do it that way. But otherwise, we like to say that the training should be spread out so that people have a chance to use their new skills. Now, we facilitate that at Frontline Leadership through our Leader Behavior Builder system, where people have to set a commitment and then work on it in between sessions, and then it tracks and checks in with them to provide a metric on how much improvement that they've seen in their leadership capabilities. The third tip is to quantify the impact. Now, again, we do that through the Leader Behavior Builder system, but really in your operation, you've seen that better leadership, more effective leadership, definitely has a positive impact on operating performance. So why not keep track of some of those metrics before the training, during the training, and following the training to see how many gains you've been able to achieve? Now, no training is going to be perfect in a one-shot deal because that's not how we learn. We learn over time through repetition. And so instead of just looking at one program, why not start with one and then be open to the idea as you see the positive impact of doing a second and third phase to keep your leaders on a continuous leadership journey. And of course, if you're interested in that, you should reach out to us and have a conversation through our website at uniquedevelopment.com. And whether you decide to choose the on-demand, the virtual delivered, or the old-fashioned in-person classroom training, we're here to be your partners in leadership excellence.